Well, Britain has been sold out once again. After suffering an historic defeat, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said he gets it and vowed to listen to the concerns of the public. But quite obviously, he doesn't. Today, the Labour government has just hammered another nail into the coffin of British workers with their so-called landmark trade deal with India. Let's break this down, shall we? Indian workers can now come into the UK on skilled worker visas, and for 3 years, get this, they won't have to pay a penny in national insurance contributions. Yeah, you heard that right. 3 years of tax breaks handed to them on a silver platter. Meanwhile, British small businesses are being crushed under national insurance hikes, forced to pay more while foreign workers get a free pass. And don't let them fool you with the small print. The deal says British workers in India get the same exemption. Who's queuing up, though, to work in India? This is a one-way street, isn't it? Designed to flood the UK with cheap labour while British workers are left to fend for themselves again. The government says the UK's free trade deal with India will have no impact on the immigration system. But just take a look here at what Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds said earlier today.
Include any changes to our immigration system or lock in existing use of the visa system that's done separately to our trade agreements. It opens up a small number of visas from an existing route for chefs and musicians and yoga teachers. Very, very small, about 1,800. So no changes to the system. That's about business mobility. That's about making it easier for people to come temporarily to the UK. So a whole set of wins for the UK on goods and services, but no changes fundamentally to our immigration system.
Yeah, Delhi made this a non-negotiable condition of this deal, and Labour appeared to roll over like a puppy. India knows exactly what they're doing, siphoning millions back in remittances while we get nothing in return. In 2023 alone, remittances from the UK to India and other countries hit 9.3 billion. That's British money drained from our economy, and Labour's just opened the floodgates wider. What's worse is there's no requirement for employers to advertise jobs to British people first. And that's thanks to rules relaxed under Boris Johnson. Businesses can hire straight from India, undercutting local wages with workers who don't pay the same taxes. Well, the Home Office has been warning for years about the abuse of these skilled worker visas. Kebab shops claiming they need 10 chefs who magically turn out to be family members. And now Labour's making it easier. All while net migration is already at record post-Brexit levels. Now, they promised to reduce reliance on overseas workers, to improve training for Brits. Where's that promise gone now? It's buried under a forgotten manifesto pledges where the rest of them are. That's where. There are further questions to be answered as well, as to whether or not the government has now limited new skilled worker abilities to switch from their 3-year limited visa to another visa, i.e. student, health or social care. If it were the case that they haven't, that would mean they could extend their stay and receive indefinite leave to remain. This isn't a trade deal, is it? It's a sellout. Labour's packing Britain to the rafters with foreign workers, giving them financial perks while British families struggle to make ends meet. Now, they claim it's not a change to immigration policy, but it does facilitate visa routes for Indian professionals in certain sectors. Call that what it is, in my opinion, a betrayal. The last government, under Liz Truss and Suella Braverman, told India no to these demands. Labour, seemingly, however, couldn't wait to say yes. And they're handing Commonwealth citizens, as we do, the ability to vote here, by the way. A demographic lever to pull, all while British workers are left out in the cold. This isn't governance, is it? It is surrender. And as ever, I want to know what you think about this topic. gbnews.com/you'll say, please get in touch with me.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
And let's go to my panel for commentary. Journalist and broadcaster Michael Crick and Deputy Editor of Conservative Home, Henry Hill. Henry, let's start with you on this. A lot of the stuff I was talking about there is stuff that the Tories had worked on this trade deal. Of course, I said, saying that Liz and Suella said no to this migration part of the deal. What's changed, do you think?
Well, the government, for starters. What's remarkable is the Conservatives managed to keep saying no to this, even though give the seats with a strong Hindu vote are now the strongest Conservative seats in the UK. There must be some strategist in CCHQ who's thinking that Labour's new policy of more Leicester Easts isn't the worst thing for the party. One of the strange things about this is actually the inability to exactly pin down ministers on what exactly is going on. Because, for example, I recently, as in a few hours ago, was talking to Douglas Alexander and read out a section of the thing which says we're going to make it easier for dependents of these workers to come here as well. Now, this is always something that's under the radar a bit sometimes in the immigration debate. We talk about headline worker numbers and everything else, and then they'll have a right to bring dependents as well. And he just repeatedly insisted, no, that's completely separate. And I'm reading from the document on this trade deal. Couldn't say exactly what that was doing. Next, the government says this is strictly for a subcategory of Indian workers who are here temporarily on intra-company transfers, right? Now, one, in itself, that might be defensible. Double taxation understandings are common. These people will be paying taxes in India in theory. But how many companies do you know that are like international yoga conglomerates where you do your posting in Britain, the British office of Yoga International for 3 years, and then you go back?
Well, this is the big question, isn't it? Is whether or not we're going to have a lot of new foreign workers stay here permanently. And of course, we've been talking about migration for a long time, Michael, and it's been one of the top issues for British people across the country. When polled regularly, it's still coming up as one of the top issues. Migration levels were just starting to go down. Thanks to previous Tory party policy. Is this just like a betrayal of the essence of that? Keir Starmer says he wants to control migration. Surely this is going to push those numbers higher.
Your whole coverage tonight is utterly hysterical and scaremongering and likely to pander
I don't know about that. This has been going on for generations, Michael.
Pander to the worst kind of racist.
Come on! I can't listen, Michael. Come on, we can't say that. People with genuine concerns over migration are not racists.
But what we need is a calm debate, not the kind of language that you're using. And Jacob would never have spoken in that kind of language.
Well, I'm not Jacob Rees-Mogg.
I know you're not, and more is the pity. Let's be calm about this. The numbers involved, the scale of the deal, of the trade deal, is huge, and the benefits to this country will be huge, and we should bear that in mind. And that will benefit all of us. Will benefit benefit the whole population. And the number of extra visas is what, about 1,800. You've left out the fact that employers won't have to pay national insurance either, which of course is at a much higher rate than it is for employees. You've dismissed the reciprocal arrangements. I suspect if there was a trade deal like this with Australia, you wouldn't say a word.
Oh no! Listen, I want the best deal for British people. Yeah. The reality is that foreign workers will come here and get a tax break. Meanwhile, Labour has slammed this country with the highest taxes for a generation. What do we say about that?
A tax break for 3 years,
yes,
right?
It's a long time.
Well,
it's a long time.
Nonetheless, when you do a big deal like this, you do have to make concessions. And frankly, I think these concessions are worth making for the bigger deal.
OK, well, I'll put this back over to you. At the end of the day, British people have voted time and time again. We had that historic Brexit vote, which, in my opinion, was immigration was a big part of it. We said we're going to take back control. And not only are we now opening the door to more visas, more migrants who might take skilled jobs from British people. We're not training British people. We haven't seen any policies on that. That now those migrants coming here will get a tax break. Is that a two-tier tax system?
So the tax break thing is interesting because, of course, Michael is right that it is also excluding employers' national insurance contributions. But that means that overall these workers are cheaper to employ. And what you see if you look at the Indian media about this is that actually what that means is that some Indian service providers will be more competitive and so on. Now, I do think that there are cases to be made in limited circumstances for, as I said, I think reciprocal tax arrangements are perfectly sensible. If somebody is paying, it's basically a reverse of the non-dom thing. If someone is paying the equivalent of national insurance in India, fine. But I do think that there is a challenge with the fact that India is one of the worst offenders for not taking back people who overstay their visas, right? That's already a problem. Then there is the fact, as I said, that you do have this perception of a two-tier arrangement. And I think that this is a rod that politicians have made for their own back, because if they had taken action on getting immigration down in general, it would create more space in the public mind for specific deals like this. But because there's this general perception that politicians haven't got a grip on the problem, it makes it impossible to sell something like this.
Yeah, and obviously the Tories rejected this deal multiple times because of the migration factor, because actually we haven't got British people going to work in India, do we? So actually it's not really reciprocal, is it? And that's the problem. It's reciprocal on paper, but who's queuing up to go to India, Michael?
I've no idea, but the Indian economy has done much better than ours over the last few decades, is likely to do better than ours over future decades. The number of people going to India to work may well increase in the years ahead. I just think
living standards in India are currently about 1/10 what they are here.
Yes, but there will be well-paid jobs that will more likely become available in the years ahead because of the growth in the Indian economy that this trade deal will help. And so, therefore, there will be, I think, greater opportunities for British people to go and work in India and take advantage of this.
On that point, businesses will be able to bypass British people and employ people directly from India. That's, again, undercutting the working classes. Has Labour just forgotten that it's the party of the working class?
It's not
hiring cheap labour is exactly what businesses do. They've been doing it for generations.
The whole of the Indian population can now come to this country.
No, but they can hire them in India. They can hire them in India as well, so they can bypass British people. They can bypass.
That's long been the case that jobs have been exported to India. That's been going on for decades.
But surely there's more reason for the government to be cracking down on that kind of nonsense, because we need growth here in Britain, don't we?
Well, that would be but sometimes the labour can't be found in this country, be it unskilled labour or be it skilled labour. Now, this is free trade, something which I would have thought a television station like this would believe in.
No, absolutely. Well, listen, we've got to move on. I've got a right to reply here from Labour. A Labour Party spokesperson responding to speculation around the India trade deal has said this. This deal will provide an annual £4.8 billion boost for British businesses, create more jobs, raise wages by more than £2 billion a year, and bring down prices for hard-pressed customers. Kemi Badenoch is desperately seeking to distract from her failure with a made-up row about a standard tax agreement that will benefit British workers abroad. Where the Conservatives failed to seal the deal, Labour is putting more money in working people's pockets through our plan for change. OK, very fiery start to the show tonight.